Yeah.
Okay, so we're in the Sahara Maximum flying machine, or underneath it. He's a bit of an interesting character if you Google him online. He's got quite an interesting story to tell. And he is actually a sir, even though he's technically an American, but he was the inventor of this ride. And the reason he's a sir and not a knighthood is for his contribution to firearms, because which we don't normally tell people about, but the reason why these rides exist is because he actually invented a machine gun, the first portable machine gun. He also invented the mousetrap. I said it was interesting, and because of that, that's how he got his knighthood. But he was basically using these rides to fund the development of his business, and particularly non-sales. The first one of these was actually at Earl's Court in London. It was a bit different to this one, in that it was a different shape, and the cars that you used to ride in on it were enclosed cars. They weren't like boats like ours were originally, and they were fish-shaped. And then, because of the success of that one, he looked at other sites to put these in. So ours was one of those other sites. There was also one in New Brighton. There was also one of these in Southport as well. Ours dates back to 1904. It's the only one left of its kind now operating, and we think it's the longest operating ride in Europe, continuously operating ride in Europe. It has a couple of interesting things. When you get a second, have a look over here at all the dirty sand that's underneath us, because Pleasure Beach was originally built on sand, on reclaimed land, and so it's one of the few places around the park where you can actually see sand under the original sand under a ride. Some really nice sepia tone photos of this ride, which is surrounded by sand. The ride is essentially the same, but it's got all the people wearing their Sunday vests around. It's really nice snapshot of history. The ride itself is run by 2 electric motors, which are at one end. We're going to run it in a minute, and you will hear how noisy it gets. But at the moment, you can probably see that there's some work going on this side, which means that cog is separate, so that's not driving. We can actually, if you don't know if anyone was here over the first couple of weekends that we've had, but if you went on the ride, you might have found that it didn't go as far out as it normally does. That's because we're running it on half speed, which we do, because we're doing this work on this side. And it'll be back up to running full speed soon. Those motors drive the wheels at the end, which connected to this beautiful big cog, which is a great piece of Victorian engineering. They never make it like that these days. The ropes that you see on there, the first set of ropes lasted for over 50 years. Now we have to replace the ropes about every 5-6 years. All that says is that don't make ropes the way that they used to. And then that turns which turns that big cog there, which is on that centre part, which turns the centre column, which essentially makes the ride run. Our ride operators have a very easy job now, in that they just press a button and then the ride follows the ride sequence for a few minutes and comes back down to the parking position. There's no braking involved, just a couple of pounds, that's what brings it back down to stuff you wouldn't want, if you think about it, you wouldn't want it to abruptly stop. Anyway, from the old control is actually behind you, so if you look, there's in that plastic bag there, you can see that there's like a handle. It's very much like what the kind of control that you'd see on a tram in Blackpool, bizarrely. But the operator used to be able to actually change the speed of the ride during the ride process. Now they don't have to do that, just press one button. Nice and straightforward. From an operational point of view, it's really a ride. It's got 10 rockets on it, they hold 8 people. 80 people per ride, for me, that's great, because that gets people through. So the fact that, this is what I call a people eater from over 100 years ago is really, really good. You can see another people eater in a minute with the roads. Right, before we started, there's a cool little photo thing. If you want, walk around the other side with a nice sign. If you want us to take a photo in front of it, we're happy to. Alright, so let's just do a little bit of explore. So if anyone wants to photo taken with it, just say, don't be shy and retiring. This is a good opportunity to do it. So. Yeah, I think so. That's better. There you go.
Well, thank you.
Anyone else? Yeah. Thank you. No worries. Anyone? You bet. One of each. One of each. There you go.
Yeah.
That's the right top for today, by the way.
Put your back out.
That's fine. We're happy with that. Oh yeah, you're right. I think I've done it. There you go. Great. Okay. There you go. Okay, can we start the ride up and we'll walk back? You can shout.
Yeah.
So it's going to get noisy in here. Won't get, if you can imagine, it's only get half as noisy as it would normally get, but you'll get to see that. So if we start having a nice little mooch back around that way, I'm going to go around there.
Yep.